Let's start with the skull. Yes, once again, everyone knows that the face is above the skull, the bones, and on them we have cartilages, muscles, fasciae, fatty tissues, all treated by veins, arteries, vessels, and capillaries, blood and lymphatic, and the neural network. And yes, a human face is a complex living, continuing, and developing system. First of all, the impact of the skull shape at the face shape reveals in large-scale proportions. Here, look, I've taken the image of a skull and edited it in the Photoshop. This is a normal skull. Here it's stretched vertically. This produces oblong heads. Here it is, on the contrary, flattened or stretched horizontally. So let's see some examples. The skulls of Nicolas Cage and Maxim Galkin are of oblong shape, oblong. And here, at these photos, we see the heads with a wider shape of the skull. Here, I've taken this part of the skull from the superciliary arches to the lower edge of nostrils and somewhat flattened it. This is a very interesting skull. I mean, this feature produces very interesting faces. Have a look at Anastasia Stotskaya. Her eyes and lips are big enough as they are, because her facial muscles are rather well developed, and the fact that her skull is somewhat flattened between nostrils and brows adds irregularity to her face, a zest of sorts. We can look after these photos. Oh, sorry. And here we see the same effect actually. I think it's interesting. That's why I give so many examples. Evidently enough, this interval can be, on the contrary, stretched. And here I've overstretched it. And the jaw, I mean, this bone, the lower jaw, can be bigger or smaller. It can be said that if someone is not happy with the shape or size of his jaw, the modern plastic surgery methods can solve this problem successfully. If the jaw is too small, it's possible to set an implant on the jawbone and it becomes greater. If the jaw is too big, a part of the bone is grinded and it becomes smaller. And again, the result looks naturally because the bone is a firm tissue, unlike the lips, for example. Let me give an example of jaw correction operation. For this, let's go to the site plasticclub.ru. This is the site about plastic surgery. Well, it's in Russian, but I will take many examples from there. And by the way, I'm Russian too, and this English video course is actually a translation of my video lessons in Russian, which are available from site faceinfo.info. So, this girl already had a rather attractive face because the orbicular muscles of her mouth and eyes are well developed, which produces big eyes and lips. However, the problem was that the face wasn't proportional enough because of her small jaw. And actually, an implant was set on her lower jaw. Her chin became greater, and the whole face became more balanced and nobler. Additionally, her nose, after the rhinoplasty, became smoother and smaller. But I still think that this convexity, not a cavity, like not entirely smooth and round, wasn't an aesthetic default, and the nose could have been left intact. But this is my personal opinion. So, of course, there are some cases when people go astray and set superfluous jaw implants, which are absolutely excessive from the logical point of view. And that's what has happened with Jocelyn Weidelstein and Bogdanov brothers too. Now, let's watch a small video from the portalplastic.club.ru. This is an example of a complex plastic operation, which also included the reshaping of the lower jaw, facial feminization, breast implants, rhinoplasty. My name is Julia. I'm 19 and I'd like to change the shape of my nose, to remove the bulge and make it narrower. And also I want to enlarge my breast. I've learned on the internet that there is Dr. Mamedov who does wonders in rhinoplasty. Hi, my name is Julia and I'm 19 and I'd like to change the shape of my nose and to enlarge my breast, and I'd like to make the nose narrower, to remove the bulge and to correct the teeth, and I'd like to change my face. It seems to me that it's not womanly and coarse. What can be done? I'm ready for anything. If I think that I'm not beautiful, I cannot meet people, communicate with them, I can't learn, can't work, just sit at home. Such operations are nowadays very popular in the West. It is a beautification, the integral improvement of the face. At first, analyzing your face, we see that your forehead slope is interrupted by two bulges on the forehead, and such bulges are characteristics for male foreheads, while a female forehead should be absolutely smooth. Smooth curvature will make your forehead more woman-like. At second, we should pay attention to the cheekbones. Currently, they have a rough outline as well. Once again, here we should take away some bone to smoothen this contour and create a smooth curvature. This will add a tenderness to the outline, roundness as well.
Он тоже нам, в принципе, прибавит здесь вот такой имиджевый момент. То есть уберем.
Summing up, we remove this and this, tighten your cheeks, remove this sucule, and in general we are close to the ideal proportions of your face. This will make you more beautiful. A third, in the same way, will reduce the angles of your jaw to avoid the abovness, just a little by 4 millimeters. At fourth comes your chin. That's what are you short of. Previously we mentioned that the parts that should be reduced to smoothen the contours. But
плавные границы были. То есть подбородок, чтобы
here we
стал
need to
более
accentuate
четким. Мы
your
его
chin.
чуть-чуть
We'll
буквально
enlarge it
миллиметра
slightly
на
by
3,
3
где-то не больше.
millimeters
Мы его
only.
чуть-чуть подчеркнем, увеличим, да? Вот так.
You've mentioned so many invasions. Are you going to make cuts all
Значит, по
over my
поводу
face?
разрезов. Вот несмотря на
In
то,
what
что мы
concerns
перечислили
the
несколько, в
cuts,
принципе,
in spite of
операций,
so
то
many
есть
operations on
лба,
the
то есть
forehead,
ствола области,
on the
нижней челюсти,
cheeks, the
подбородок,
jaw and the
разрезы
chin,
все эти
all
будут
cuts will
скрыты.
be
То есть вот эти
hidden.
вот мешочки под глазами, я их
This
сохраню
baggy
просто
skin
ротовым
under your
слоем.
eyes will be
Оттуда же
removed
мы,
through
в
your
принципе,
mouth
и
cavity.
чуть-чуть
The
щечки
same for your
подтянем.
cheek
Оттуда же мы уберем
and
угол
the
нижней
angles of the
челюсти. Из
jaw and the
внутриротового
chin.
доступа мы увеличим
All
подбородок.
these
То есть
cuts
все
will
эти
be
доступы
hidden
будут
in your
скрываться
mouth.
в полости рта. И для того, чтобы убрать
To correct
крупные
your
выбухания,
forehead,
я сделаю
I'll
разрез,
make a
так называемый
coronary
коронарный
section
разрез.
of the
Он
scalp
размещается в
through
волосистой
which
части
will
головы.
smoothen your
Из этого
forehead
доступа мы
and
уменьшим
your
определенным
cheekbones.
лоб и также будем уменьшать задние отделы скул. Если
If
разрез
such
сделать
cut
прямым,
is
как
straight,
ветер
it can
подует,
be
скулы
seen
расходятся, и этот
when
разрез
the
виден.
hair is
Чтобы этого
blown
не
by
было,
the
мы в виде
wind, for
молнии
example.
сделаем. Тогда, в
To avoid
принципе,
this, we'll make a
доказано, что при
zigzag
таком
cut,
расположении
which is
разреза
proved to be
даже
unnoticeable
на
even
лету, когда волосы
with
развиваются, эти
the
разрезы, в
waving
принципе,
hair.
незаметны, скрыты. Операция в
The
области носа,
operation
она самая
on the nose
стандартная,
is
выше
the most
перечисленных,
common
да, самая
operation
распространенная,
compared
поэтому
to what
в
we've
области носа
mentioned.
нам необходимо будет
So
провести
in our
стандартную
case, it will be
ринопластику,
a
пластику
standard
носа. Мы берем
rhinoplasty.
горбик, сформируем
We'll
более
remove the
щеткий кончик
bulge,
носа, растянем его
accentuate
кверху
the
немножко для того,
tip,
чтобы подлиннее
turn
уменьшить
it
нос, да, и
upside a
будет
bit to
выполнено
reduce
сужение
the
носа.
length and tighten
Ринопластика будет
the
выполняема
base of the
закрытым
nose.
доступом, то есть разрезы
The
изнутри все
rhinoplasty
будут
will be done by
осуществляться,
hidden
то есть ничего такого
access, all cuts
сверхъестественного
made
здесь не
from the
ожидается в
inside,
области
so
носа.
there will be no
И давайте
difficulties.
перейдем на грудь.
So what about your breast? Before and after the operation. Hello Julia, how are you? How much time has passed since the operation? Everything is okay, it was 4 months ago. The first operation, yes, yes. 4 months ago we've made a big complex operation, and at the second stage we fixed your nose and ears. Let's analyze everything again. Our mission was to make your face more feminine. All these methods are the plastic surgery only in the broader sense. Actually, they belong to the domain of cranial facial surgery. These bulges on the forehead were to be removed. A female forehead should be absolutely smooth. Then the temporal line, the unwanted contours on the forehead were also removed by us. Then we reduced the distance between cheekbones and the sharp angle of the lower jaw, which should also be smooth. Then we grinded that bone. When the cheekbone is removed, the tissue can sag, and the same can come with aging. To avoid this, we lifted the cheeks. Speaking plainly, your skull was matched to the anthropometrical standards, and the face has become better at once. Look at the endothelium now, it's absolutely smooth. The upper orbital edge, the cheekbones, the jaw angles, everything was removed. After the operation, I've become much happier. I have no complexes about my look. I've become more confident. Many people say that I resemble to an actress, but I don't think so. It seems to me that my individuality is self-standing. I have a great esteem to the professionalism of Elchin Valievich Mamedov, the plastic surgeon who has made this operation. But frankly speaking, I do not think that it was a success. It seems to me that as a result, Julia's face looks unnatural, mostly because this was a great scale and not altogether adequate invasion to the soft facial tissues. At the photos after the operation, the girl has a cool hair though and makeup, but well, that was pretty in the very beginning. So many operations were unnecessary, absolutely. When actually a proper makeup could do the same, or even better. I speak seriously because she already was a tall girl with a model look. I don't think at all that her face was too masculine or not woman-like. Not at all. It was a beautiful female face. So, and what do we see now? The tails of her eyes, external corners, look unnaturally stretched. The same with the angles of her mouth. They are unnaturally stretched because at first the lips were pumped with collagen, and at second, the soft tissues of cheeks were removed. Pay attention to this sharp angle. So collagen did no good in this case. Then, as for the superciliary arches, it wasn't necessary to grind them off. Not at all. It wasn't necessary to do the same with the jaw. Elchin Valievich Mamedov says that such a sharp and rough angle of the jaw is unwanted for a female face, that this is a masculine feature. It's amazing. Look at these photos. Say, how? By what? Her jaw is different from the jaw of such generally acknowledged beauties as Jennifer Lopez or Angelina Jolie. What? Do they have a masculine angle as well? Of course not. The real imperfection in that girl was her small mouth, and it was necessary for her to train her mouth, to take the exercises, and to work out the orbicular mouth muscle. Also, I think that she should have trained her eyes as well, and then her face would have become balanced in a natural way. And actually, that would have been a real and natural beautification. So, let's go back to the lower jaw. I tell it plain. The shape and size of the lower jaw have no connection to the gender features. Please look at these photos. These men have big jaws and look manly, and these women have big jaws as well, and they look beautiful and extremely womanly. And I have to say that there is a multitude of men with relatively, it means in proportion to other the features, small jaws, who nevertheless look like sex symbols for most women. So, and vice versa, there are lots of womanly women with big jaws. If we speak about gender distinct features, they are manifested only in the zone of brows, or in terms of skull anatomy, superciliary arches. With men they are somewhat more protrudent. And the images of masculine and feminine skulls printed in books are usually absolutely fake. Look at this one. There are nothing more than two totally different skulls. The idea that women have narrow jaws is not even confirmed by statistics. We cannot actually say that most women have relatively smaller jaws and most men relatively bigger. When I say relatively, this means in proportion to other measurements of their skulls. And another blatantly wrong idea in the picture is that the eye sockets have different shape. This has no relation to gender differences at all.